Hello, my name is Dave Esposito from Boom Film Festival, and this is a review of the short film called Blackpool. But before we get into that, like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're another filmmaker watching this video and you want your film reviewed, go to filmfreeway.com/boomfilmfestival. You can get a review and you can get into the festival and be considered for awards and stuff. All right, let's get into this. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who made this film. So the director is Stephen Gallacher. He also submitted another film called The Stork, which was awesome. The writer, Phil Pearson. Producers, Lewis Briggs and Jamie Shelton. Cast, Andrew Ellis, George Bukhari, Daisy Doris May, and Sammy Winward. I think I actually read those right, because sometimes I don't read names well. All right, let me tell you a little bit about the story. I'm going to read the synopsis to you. After 30 years of too many downs and not enough ups on life's roller coaster, Billy embarks on a final lost weekend in the fun fair of a town that is Blackpool. The place he loved as a kid seemed as good as anywhere to end it all. Well, at least try to. Unfortunately, like so many other things in his chaotic world, it doesn't quite go how he had hoped. All right, let's get into this. I'm going to tell you how I feel about this film. Go through some categories. Writing. Okay. This was like funny. It was, cleverly written. Some good jokes in there. Good dialogue, clever stuff. But it also had some emotional moments and some depth to it. And the emotional moments really hit hard. I really felt them. So I like that about this film. There was a specific moment where the main character, Billy, is on the beach and he kind of has a flashback to himself living in this city and saying that he loves it there and he wants to live there for the rest of his life. But now he kind of sees the city as this depressing, lonely place, and he's kind of, wandering around the whole city and just thinking it's lame. And, he's also depressed and he kind of, just feels like this is a depressing place and he doesn't like it. He doesn't admire it like he used to. And it was like a cool, powerful contrast to see that, like him as a kid loving it and him now not loving it and being all depressed and him like thinking back on that. It was pretty powerful stuff. And it was cool to see that this film did have like a resolution. There was a character that was dressed up as a parrot who was also kind of struggling. He's betting on a horse race and it didn't go his way, and then he was about to like jump into the ocean and kill himself, as was Billy, but then Billy saved him. And that was actually a powerful moment. It was emotional. Then after that, he starts to kind of change his mind about the city of Blackpool, and he just starts to say good stuff about it at the end of the film. My only issue with that is I felt that was a little abrupt, his shift and change. I feel like what happened with the parrot man doesn't really match that. You see what I'm saying? For the parrot man situation, I could see the change being, okay, I see a reason to live now. I see why I should live and why living is good. And, that I understand. But I don't understand how that moment caused him to appreciate his city. That did not connect with me. You know what I'm saying? I missed a moment of like, you know what? This city isn't so bad. This town isn't so bad. And I don't think the moment with the parrot guy really connects to that idea. So it wasn't perfectly satisfying of a resolution in that regard. But in terms of his depression, I feel like that worked. That aspect worked. Like, him understanding that like it's worth living because he felt the need to help this other guy and show him that it was worth staying alive. So that makes sense. But the whole concept of his town, Blackpool, and appreciating it again, it didn't click for me. Also, he made this joke at the end because the parrot guy's name is Ryan. He said, "Saving Pirate Ryan." And it's kind of funny because it was right after an emotional moment. But I know parrots, like, usually are on the shoulders of pirates, classically. But the guy is a parrot, not a pirate, so it didn't work for me, that little joke. Maybe the point was that it wasn't supposed to be a good joke, I don't know. But if he was, like, dressed up as a pirate, that would have actually been very funny for me. But hey, it's a minor little thing. But the other thing I'll say is that I really like how this film blends humor and comedy very well. Goes back and forth, but it doesn't feel jarring. It works. You know what I mean? So they blend it very well. I like that. There's moments where he's trying to kill himself, and it's half funny, half kind of emotional and sad. And then there's parts where it's like full-blown funny, and then there's full-blown emotion, and it goes back and forth, and it's very good. It's hard to do that in films, trying to make something funny but also serious, going back and forth without making it feel awkward. It's difficult. All right, let's get into the next category. I'm rambling a lot. Acting. So all the actors were awesome. Another thing I'll say that's kind of writing related is that the characters are very memorable. But also it's part of the acting, So the main guy was awesome. He was really good. He was funny. He delivered his lines very, like, naturally. I like literally forgot he was acting. Like, I got immersed. It's like towards the end, I'm like, wow, this guy's actually really good at acting. You know what I mean? Like, I forgot that I literally wasn't, like, I was immersed. It was just so realistic. And that's what you want. You don't want to be thinking that the guy's acting while he's acting. You want to be just feeling like this is a real person. And I felt that. So, yeah, this is one of the best performances of this season so far. Contender for Best Actor Award. You know what I mean? Every single actor, even like really minor parts, were really good. And again, memorable characters. I like that about this. Like, he runs into a lot of interesting people, even if it's brief. And yeah, that's pretty cool about this film. All right, let's get into some cinematography and editing. Ready? Let's talk about it. The opening shots were amazing. The drone shots of the town, the roller coasters, the pier, the ocean. It was just beautiful. It was very beautifully captured. And you see some of those at the end as well. Just, kind of flawless camera work and coloring, just super top-notch, professional, you know what I mean? But like awesome, like, framing and decisions with the camera work as well. There's one moment where he's in front of like the roller coaster or one of the amusement park stuff, and then the camera was like rotating around him. It was awesome, and it didn't feel forced. Sometimes filmmakers like to get real flashy and stuff, but like it all felt appropriate, and it like elevated the moment. It wasn't just flashy to be flashy. It was like serving a purpose, and it worked. There's a lot of depth to this in terms of imagery, like a lot of attention to details. A lot of shots, beautiful shots, even if it's like a second shot, there's a lot of amazing shots of this town. Well thought out. You know what I mean? Every little shot was thought out. And it was just very fast-paced editing too, which was awesome. It kept you engaged and interested. It was compelling, you know? And that's something I really care about with films, like that you feel a sense of momentum, like it's going towards something and it's not just dragging, you know? And this had a really good pacing. So, all right, let's get into like the sound and music. You know, in terms of audio quality, everything was flawless. I love to see it, you know? It's hard. Audio is hard with film. Like to keep it all consistent, for everything to just sound natural, not be distracting. You know, a lot of times with indie films, you hear noise, you hear wind, you hear inconsistencies, like I said. One shot sounds different than the other. You hear a lot of space and a room noise or something, and then you just instantly takes you out of the film. Because like you're thinking microphones. You shouldn't be thinking about microphones. But it's hard when you're on a budget. But anyway, the audio here was flawless in that regard. And the music was very good. It like really worked for elevating these moments and making them emotional. Like it really did it. It sold those moments. So overall, Stephen Gallacher did a great job with this film, directing it. It was really funny. It was emotional. It had depth to it. It really landed emotionally. Had some very clever dialogue, funny moments and stuff. The actors were all awesome, especially the main guy. He was really good. He had a lot of range. He did the funny parts and the emotional parts really well. Technically, it was like flawless. Beautiful drone shots, great coloring, great music that elevated the emotional moments as well. The only little thing I'd say, like, is the resolution at the end didn't quite connect as perfectly as I would like. But I'm going to give this film a 4.5 out of 5. It's really good. It's a contender for a lot of our awards. Best film, best actor, and others. All right? So that's pretty much it for the Boom Film Festival review of Blackpool. So if you're a filmmaker watching this and you want your film reviewed, go to filmfreeway.com/boomfilmfestival and submit it there. And also like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. That'd be awesome. All right, I'm out of here. Bye. Boom.